everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Strike Noise, your 290th favorite baseball history podcast. Just because I'm assuming that the 289 previous episodes of this podcast are your favorite, this one will soon become number one. My name is Jeff. I'm one half of the show. As always, joining me from the Harold Reynolds studio up there in the Pacific Northwest, it is my co-host, Mark A. Johnston. Mark, how you doing?
Oh, man, I couldn't be any better. Let's just put it that way. Things are absolutely amazing there. But whether that's true or not, I'm not saying.
You're a Mariner fan, though. Never. That doesn't happen. All right. Well, Mark, like I said, this is episode number 290. That means by the end of the baseball season, we might be at 300.
Yeah.
We've got to
300
start.
hitters, 300 wins.
Yeah, we've got every living 300 hitter is lined up to be a guest on that pod. They're all going to just join in all at once, too.
Yeah, all at once, and they're just going to say random things.
Yeah, just everybody say hi and your name, and they're all going to do it, and then I'm just going to cut them off. That's it.
That's it.
All right, let's get into things, shall we? First of all, Mark, SABR's annual convention is going on right now as we speak down in Dallas, Texas. We are members of SABR, though. I'm going to go next year. I don't know where it is. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't know where next year's is, but the last couple of years, I just watch everything on social media. And this year, there are so many panels and talks that I would love to go to. I gotta go. I think I really do need to go. But I did want to mention this. So it is in Dallas. So Bruce Bochy, the manager of Rangers, they were in, I believe, Baltimore. And they finished that series. They flew home. They're going to open up, I guess, a series probably tonight, Friday, there. And they had yesterday off. They had Thursday off. But they got in at like 2 or 3 in the morning. You know how those return flights go when you're on the road. You usually get in pretty late. He got up very early and came and talked to SABR in the morning, did a talk.
Wow.
And when he told his team that he was doing this, they're like, SABR, what? First of all, most of the players don't know what SABR is. And Bochy goes, SABR are a bunch of people that care more about your careers than you do, which I thought was funny. But props to him for on an off day, getting in super late, getting up super early to come and talk to people that actually care about baseball. Rob Manfred, not there, by the way.
Yeah.
Nor was John Fisher. Yeah. Nor was any owner, I'm sure. Screw them. But hats off to you, Bruce Bochy. That's a size 8.5 hat off to you, Bruce Bochy, by the way. Mark, you had somebody contact you a while ago that wanted to come on our podcast. And I know you and I kicked it around. It was somebody that was doing something where they were loaning money to players that had not yet made the big leagues, essentially giving them money, and they were allowing people, which is why they wanted to come on the show. They wanted to get the word out that fans could essentially invest in players and their future, so that you are giving money to this player, and then the player signs a contract where, 10% of their future earnings, whatever the percentage may be, they then have to pay back to this company, and then you as an investor get part of that. So, you and I kicked it around, and we were a little skeptical about it, and ultimately decided, let's, thank you, but no thank you. I think we made a good choice.
Yeah, so I hear.
Yeah, so Fernando Tatis Jr. apparently did this deal. I don't know if it was with this person or not, but he is currently suing them to get out of this contract. And it sounds like he's going to be able to, especially since he works technically here in California, where there are a lot of worker rights. It sounds like he's going to get out of this. But, with the kind of contracts that guys are making, especially Tatis Jr., is making a lot of money. That's a lot of money that he's got to give up when he only got, I think it was $2 million kind of advanced to him. But yet now this is essentially a payday loan scam, right? I mean, that's
If you want to call it that.
It is. I mean, we'll give you 200 now, but if you don't pay it back by, in 10 minutes, you're going to owe us 400. And then 10 minutes after that, there's juice on this. So it's going to be more and more. So it sounds like he might get out of this. And I'm assuming a bunch of other players will probably then be able to get out of it as well. I'm rooting for you, Fernando. I saw this on social media by Codify Baseball. They do a bunch of great statistical stuff. And I didn't know this stat, but I didn't know mainly about somebody that is included in the stat. Codify posted that the only Major League Baseball pitcher, to face Barry Bonds more than 5 times without ever allowing him to reach base was Jeremy Gonzalez. Now, okay, I didn't know that, but what I also didn't know is that Jeremy Gonzalez apparently was struck and killed by lightning.
What?
Yeah, apparently he passed away in 2008. So he was only 33, 2 years removed from the majors. And Let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah, he was playing in the Venezuelan Winter League in 2008. But struck and killed by lightning. And he had pitched for the Giants, the Yomiuri Giants in Japan just the year before. So I had no idea that Jeremy Gonzalez had passed away, let alone the manner in which he had passed away.
Man, that guy hit some long odds.
Yeah. I'm assuming he wasn't playing golf.
Right.
Or anything.
Climbing trees, nothing like that.
I guess I could have read more about it. It just says struck by lightning. So RIP, a late RIP to Jeremy Gonzalez, but yeah, just something I didn't know about him. Now you had something about the Rockies that you wanted to talk about here.
Yeah, we actually had an attorney who listens to the show contact me and say, "Hey, did you hear what's going on with this lawsuit against the Colorado Rockies?" And I was like, "No, I better check it out." And so he kind of explained it to me. And what happened was, this is actually a lawsuit that's been going on a little while. It just recently kind of came to light for more people that noticed what was going on. A gentleman named Timothy Rokel. It's either Rokel or Rokel. I don't know. Anyway, on July 16th, 2023, he was invited as a guest to a private luxury suite at Coors Field for the Rockies Yankees game and was struck in the right eye by a foul ball in the first inning. So he has what he describes as catastrophic and permanent injuries because of this foul ball. Well, generally, there are laws in states that protect baseball teams, professional baseball teams, against lawsuits for foul balls. But he was having none of it. And here are some of the interesting, it became kind of interesting to read what was going on. Some of the stuff like he had an obstructed view from the luxury suite because of the architectural elements. There's an overhang from the bleachers that blocked his view, making it physically impossible to see the incoming ball. They didn't have the netting protection. He says they failed to sufficiently extend the protective netting, which is mandatory safety standard across MLB parks. They didn't use it for their luxury suite areas.
Is this lawyer, is he representing this guy or?
No, he just thought it was amusing.
Oh, I think this guy's an idiot. Not the lawyer. I think this fan is an idiot.
Oh, we haven't gotten there yet. He said that yes, there are legal protections. There's the Colorado Baseball Spectator Safety Act of 93 shields stadiums from liability from foul ball injuries. He says that the Rockies' failure to take adequate safety measures renders that protection inapplicable. So here's the funniest part of it. The part that caught my eye is in an unusual twist. The lawsuit highlights that the Rockies' continued poor performance created an environment where spectators, especially in luxury suites, were less focused on gameplay. He intends that this contributed to his inability to notice the foul ball.
Oh, my God.
I kid you not. Now, let's take a look here. The Rockies have lost over 100 games in 23 and 24, and we all know how wonderfully they're doing this year.
I think they're going to turn it around. I think they're going to turn it around.
Yes, Rockies fans, don't give up yet. Don't. What the heck? It's not mathematical elimination, I don't think. Anyway, he said that there's a culture of distraction that's encouraged by the stadium design. He criticizes the Rockies for promoting amenities over attentiveness, such as luxury suite dining, socializing, and in-suite TVs, which combined with obstructed sightlines increase the risk of injury. He is seeking a jury trial and unspecified financial damages, including medical expenses, permanent disfigurement, economic and non-economic damages, interest costs, and etc. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Basically, he's saying, look, I got hit in the face with a foul ball, and part of the reason was because the Rockies are so bad.
And because I'm an idiot. Literally, on the back of every ticket that you have to get in a stadium, all of this is spelled out. That they're not liable for any of that stuff. And what, he wants a net in front of the luxury suite?
Basically, his lawsuit says that there are physical safety concerns for the luxury suite. Yes.
I think the Rockies should have a service for their luxury boxes that if you want it, somebody will go in the suite with you and they'll open up an umbrella and they'll hold it in front of you between you and the field at all times, thusly eliminating the possibility that you will be hit by a foul ball because you're watching freaking Paw Patrol on the TV inside or something.
Yeah. Maybe just a guy that yells duck.
Well, in Japan, all the ushers have whistles, and whenever there's a foul ball coming towards their section, they blow the whistle.
See, that's not a bad idea. I like the duck idea better, personally, just because I'd enjoy that job. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. He's basically suing the Rockies, saying, I got hit in the face with a foul ball, and it's your fault for stinking.
Yeah, he's blaming them for being too boring on the field. But if the Yankees, who was at bat?
You know what? I didn't see.
Because if the Yankees are at bat, first of all, toss that thing out right now, right? Oh, well,
That's
it was
right.
Aaron Judge was at bat. But yeah, I was busy watching Paw Patrol. And so he fouled one off and hit me in the dome. This is just so stupid. This is obviously just someone being litigious, trying to make money.
Yeah, it's definitely out there.
Like, I'm mad at him for this. And I hope when he eventually loses I hope the Rockies don't settle or anything. I hope when he loses this, it's one of those, oh yeah, you've lost and you're paying for all of the Rockies, what it cost for them to defend this because this was frivolous.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're banned from all, just like the idiot that was yelling at Ketel Marte, you're banned from all MLB stadiums for life.
There you go. You can't come in anymore, buddy, because you're not paying attention.
He's like, that's okay. I'll just start going to hockey games. God.
Get a guy that yells duck to go with you, man.
Nope, the umbrella. I'm telling you, the umbrella is much safer. Duck, you've got to yell it in time, and he's probably going to turn around and look when you yell duck. Maybe just have a guy tackle. He's constantly watching the game, and if there's a foul ball anywhere near, he just grabs you and throws you to the ground.
Maybe they should just make the balls softer.
Well, we've got a lot of solutions to this, none of which...
Make them poofy. They don't have to be softer, but maybe cover them with velvet so that the hit kind of at least has a little bit of a cushion softness to it.
Pitchers would like that, I think.
Yeah. Lots of ideas. MLB, we're here to help.
Cush balls. Remember Cush balls? Let's use those.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Hacky sacks?
Wow. Haven't thought of a Cush ball in quite a while.
Well, there's where you and I differ. I've got a not a related, but it's a Rockies story. So these are Rockies fans that aren't suing for idiotic reasons. But apparently last week in Colorado, there was an all Ryan meetup that happened at Coors Field.
Oh, wow.
They went with the intention of setting a record for the most Ryans assembled at a sporting event. And they had around 400 there. And in this meetup, in the section that they bought specifically for people named Ryan, they had about 700 fans.
Wow.
In case you're curious, because I've obviously piqued your interest here, the record for the biggest named meetup, not Ryan's, but just a bunch of people, it was an all Ivan group.
Really?
It wouldn't tell me how many, though. And I'm assuming it was in Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia
Ivan,
doesn't.
yeah.
Well, I'm not a boomer. I swear there is no Czechoslovakia anymore.
Oh my gosh, that's a good point.
Somewhere in Eastern Europe, maybe the all Ivan group, I don't know. All Ryans are they're gonna be back next year, and they're gonna try and break it. Now, what was cool is that one of the few players that probably you can name on the Colorado Rockies is Ryan McMahon, who hit a 467-foot home run during the All Ryan Meetup.
Wow.
Game, which is cool. And then after the game, he went and met with the All Ryan group.
That's awesome.
So he added on to their number. So congrats to the Ryans, and good for you, Ryan McMahon. And that's awesome. Yeah. Congrats.
That's an uplifting story.
Well, after your Rocky story, I needed something. To cleanse the palate before we get into our debuts. And that, my friends, is what we call a segue. Players that made their Major League debut today, the day we are recording, hopefully getting this pod out. It might be the day after, but we're looking at June 27th is the day that we are looking at. And we've got some of which, so what I do is I just look at this list of players. Like I'm not picking people, I'm just picking names that I know out. So first of all, making his debut today in 1884 is Bill Sweeney. Now, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, this name might seem familiar because he was highlighted in my Best Last Seasons video a while ago. Bill Sweeney, he only pitched for 2 seasons in Major League Baseball, of which 1884 was the last. He pitched in 1882 in the American Association. 1884, he pitched in the United Association with the Baltimore Monumentals. But what's interesting about him, in 1884, he ended up with a record of 40-21. This is the last year he played in Major League Baseball, too. 40-21. His team that year only won 58 games. So 18 wins were accounted for without him. That's it. He's the only pitcher other than John Ryan to finish on that team with a record above 500. Ryan finished with a 3-2 mark. So in 60 games that he started that season, he completed 58 of them with a 2.59 ERA. He led the league in innings pitched with 538. That's an innings eater right there. 538. A WAR of 7.5. No other player in the league even reached 30 wins that year, and he had 40. Elsewhere in Major League Baseball that season, 7 other pitchers, though, had 40 or more wins. That also includes Old Hoss Radburn's unbreakable mark of 60 when he was the only pitcher left for most of the season. Following that season, he played sparingly in some other, when I say minor leagues, I don't mean like, double or triple A. I mean just smaller leagues that were not affiliated. He played sparingly, like 10 games over 2 seasons. That was because he was suffering from, quote, frequent hemorrhages, is what the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Sunday Leader said. The article, and this is my favorite part, also says, quote, Bill hangs on to life and is still capable of good work, end quote.
Well, good for him.
Makes one of us. Yeah, there's one of us is still capable of that. Bill didn't play again after 1887 and passed away due to tuberculosis in 1903, which is, a lot of these guys did, or consumption was the polite way to say it.
Yes.
Yeah. Also making his debut today in 1899 is Charlie Hemphill. Now, Charlie Hemphill, just notice the year, 1899. One of our favorite years to talk about baseball things, particularly in the Midwest. So Charlie Hemphill debuted with the St. Louis Perfectos.
Yes.
But we know who owned the St. Louis Perfectos, and we know what other team they owned. The brothers, whoever they were, I forget their name, but we know that they owned the St. Louis Perfectos and the Cleveland Spiders.
Yes.
So Charlie Hemphill was a guy, he's an outfielder. He came up with the Perfectos that year, but they're like, man, you're not good. Let's trade him to Cleveland.
Of course.
So they sent him to the Cleveland Spiders, and old Eagle Eye, as he was known, ended up not doing too bad for Cleveland. He hit 277, which is probably like 77 points higher than the team average that year. But he was actually assigned. He wasn't even traded. He was assigned to the Cleveland Spiders. So they didn't even trade him. They're like, listen, just go to our other team. He ended up playing 11 years, though. Most of it back with the Browns. he went back he went around a couple places before he went back. And then he ended up on the Yankees for a while in the early 1900s. But, whenever we can mention a Spider, that's cool. Making his debut also today, this is a big pop culture points here, Mo Berg.
Okay.
Catcher, Mo Berg.
Yep. Also
a spy. Has a movie with Paul Rudd playing him. I mean, you don't get much more pop culture than that.
No, that's the epitome.
Unless Carrot Top is playing you in the movie. That's pretty cool. So beyond all the spy stuff, which, we've touched on it. I think there's plenty of other more factual I don't want to say factual, more serious podcasts that have covered him. Mo Berg was a bit of a character as well. There's a great quote about him from White Sox catcher Buck Krause. This is from Baseball Digest, where Buck Krause said, "Mo Berg, I don't care how many college degrees you got. You ain't learned to hit that curveball no better than me." And that was because Mo Berg was a smart guy.
I remember Casey Stengel called him like the smartest guy, or the strangest man to ever play baseball, but called him the brain too, I believe.
Yeah, well, he was begging this. I was just reading up on him. He begged his mom to let him go to school when he was 3. Like, first of all, what? Huh? But no, I mean, he used to miss the first part of seasons because he was in law school at Columbia. He was a very smart guy. He was a lawyer. Obviously he worked for the government. I don't know these days that makes you smart, especially these days. But yeah, I mean, just a smart, very interesting guy. Plenty of videos and movies out there if you want to learn more about Mo Berg. But I want to talk about another Mo that made his debut in 1991, and that would be Mo Vaughn, who is somebody that I try to work into the grid a lot, and I rarely get to. But Mo Vaughn, 12 years in the big leagues, came up with the Red Sox. That's mainly who I associate him with. Then he went to the Angels on a big free agent contract, and just like Albert Pujols, just was not the same there as he was in Boston. Right. And then he finished up 2 years with the Mets that were pretty lackluster as well. But Mo Vaughn, for me, when I think of him, I think of two things. First of all, number 42. He was one of those guys that wore 42 throughout his career, including when Major League Baseball grandfathered in guys like him and Mariano Rivera and Butch Husky. Yes. Some other guys that wore 42 when they retired it for Jackie. But he was the last player in the Red Sox, the Angels, and the Mets. So all three teams that he played for, he wore number 42 and was the last player to do so for all of those franchises. And I also remember Mo Vaughn, when he went to the Angels, he got hurt when he was there because he fell down the steps in the dugout. And first of all, remember the Big A, it used to be a football facility as well. So they didn't have anything in front of the dugout steps, and he fell down them and hurt himself. And he was a high-priced, big piece of their offense. So that was pretty devastating. And that is when teams then put up the fences in front of the dugouts because of Mo Vaughn.
That's right.
So the hit dog, not the one dog.
Hit dog.
The hit dog.
Yes.
Mo Vaughn.
I knew that.
Did you really? I did. Once I read it, I'm like, oh, that's right. That's what I would have, if you asked me who the hit dog was before that, I would have never remembered.
Not to be confused with the hot dog. Ooh, I don't know who that is.
Ricky? I don't know. I've heard him described that way many times. All right, Mark, it's time for our main part of the show today. I've got something I wanted to talk about, and I'm excited because this is something baseball related that didn't take place on the diamond, which is, we usually are talking about games and characters and all that. We've actually even done an entire episode on kind of the guy who this story is focused around, but I didn't get to really go into this. So let's head back, shall we, into 1957. So Dwight Eisenhower is in office. Elvis is forcing TV cameras to pan up because his hips are moving in a way that is just salacious and
outlandish.
It's the end of society, what he's doing with those hips. And the Yankees are the Yankees. It's 1957. What do you think they're doing? So it's May 16th, and the Yankees have just completed a day game against the Kansas City Athletics. They win 3-0. The Mick went deep for the 6th time already that year. Bob Turley threw a complete game shetty. Billy Martin didn't play. So he had not gotten into a fight yet for that day.
Ah, yes.
That plays into our story. So the boys are feeling good. And because there's no social media back then, there's no 24-hour news cycle, the guys say, hey, let's go out and let's do our Yankee thing off the field. Because they just didn't care. Like I said, no social media. They didn't care. And it just so happens to be Billy Martin's 29th birthday. So they're going to really have a good time tonight. So they go out, have a couple of drinks, hit some bars, and then they're like, let's go to the Copa Cabana Club in Manhattan because it's the hottest spot north of Havana is what I've heard.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Yeah. So the Copa at this point is a spot for celebrity sightings, musical acts, and the mob, of course. That night, it just so happens that Sammy Davis Jr. was performing at the Copa Cabana. And one of the articles I was reading listed him as a calypso singer.
What?
When I think of calypso, first of all, I think of, I don't remember what her name, is a Latin woman that would wear the fruit on her head. That's what I think of calypso.
See, I think of the ship that Jacques Cousteau used.
Oh, was that? Okay. Yeah, I guess so. I guess what it comes down to is we don't really know what calypso music is.
That's what it is.
All right. Regardless, we're not here to talk about calypso. So easy win that day for the Yankees. The smooth stylings of a one-eyed rat packer that night. I think if Ice Cube were there, he would have said it was a good day all around.
Had to be.
Now, I've not been able to confirm this either, but I did see speculation that floating above New York City that day, somebody said they saw the lights of the Goodyear blimp and it read, "The Mick's a pimp." Again, just speculation on my part. Yeah. So the Copa opened up in 1940 and it was owned by Frank Costello, who was not Frank Costanza, but Frank Costello, who was a mob boss, but run by one of his associates to make it seem legit. Later, the club was run by another mobster, Crazy Joe Gallo. This is not the Three True Outcome Crazy Joey Gallo. This is Joe Gallo, the mobster. Joey Gallo was not born at this point, obviously. The mobster Joe Gallo, though, loved celebrities, and he was friends with various actors and writers, and that's why he wanted to own the Copa Cabana, because they all come there. So Gallo allegedly paid police to, quote, look the other way from anything that went down inside the Copa Cabana. And that is the truth. Like, anything happened there, the police would show up, but they'd just kind of break things up, and then that would be it. No reports, no investigation, anything like that. So, Mark, the Copa Cabana, it's a Latin-themed joint owned by an Italian. What kind of fare do you think they served at the Copa Cabana?
I'm going to go with Latin food.
See, that's what a normal person would think. But you're wrong. French and Chinese.
What was I thinking?
Two great tastes that go great together.
For sure.
In fact, 5 of the Copa's 20 chefs were born in China, and the club was famous for its Chinese menu. Like, how great is that? You're like, well, I'm in the mood for escargot, and your buddy's like, well, I could really use some noodles. Let's go to the Copa.
Yeah.
I want calypso music
for everyone.
Yeah, and if you want calypso music? Let's go. Copa, we're in. So, now, who is rolling in this Yankees crew that shows up at the Copa that night? Well, it's Billy Martin. It's his birthday, of course. And if Billy Martin's out, Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford are with him.
Yeah.
Also, you've got Hank Bauer there, Yogi Berra, and Johnny Cooks. One of these things is not like the other. So they all had their wives with them, except for Billy. He was not married at this point. So they get to the Copa, they settle in, they start knocking back some more drinks. And then the main event kicks off. And by main event, I don't mean calypso singer Sammy Davis Jr. I mean a table full of drunken bowlers.
Oh, God.
It's always the bowlers, isn't it? Always.
Those bowlers.
Yeah, they start heckling Sammy Davis Jr., throwing racial slurs at him.
Oh,
repeatedly, loud, obnoxious douchebags, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's when things start popping off. Billy Martin for one, is already punch first, ask questions never type of guy. And it's his birthday. And I told you he didn't play earlier, so he hasn't gotten in a fight yet today. So he's a little on edge. But of all the things that Billy Martin is, one thing he is definitely not is a racist. That is very clear if you've listened to our Billy Martin podcast or know anything about him. So it should be noted here also that the crew invited Elston Howard out for the night, but he couldn't find a babysitter on such short notice, so he's not there. Because I'm wondering if these bowlers would have been so bold with a 6'2", 200-pound Elston Howard there.
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't think so. So there are different versions of what went down because, like any legendary bar fight, there are 6 versions, none of which are sober and none of which are completely true. So, but this is the best that has been able to... best timeline, I guess, that has been put together. One of the bowlers walks by the table of Yankees, and he tells them, quote, "Don't trust your luck too far tonight, Yankees," which is pretty big talk for a bowler, unless, of course, you're Pete Weber. Pete Weber, the legend. He's the only guy that could talk like that, especially as a bowler, is what I'm saying.
Oh, for sure.
Being the gentlemen that they are, the Yankees and the bowlers, they decided to take this discussion outside. Or at least they attempted to. They did not quite make it. Billy and Whitey are keen to teach these bowlers that they're not that cool. Whitey's wife asked Hank Bauer, who happened to be a former Marine, to go with them. So he joins them. The Mick, this seems like his kind of thing, but he's into the calypso too much, I guess.
Yes.
So I imagine that this looks like a cartoon fight, where there's a cloud of dust and just random fists and feet poke out every now and then.
Symbols,
and there's
stars, yeah.
Yeah, like cartoon swear word emojis floating out and stuff. When it finally calms down, the person worse for wear, to nobody's surprise, was a bowler. Edward Jones was his name, not the fiduciary or whatever, not the guy you invest with. He's a deli worker from the Bronx. If he's from the Bronx, why is he trying to beat up the Yankees? This is one thing I don't understand. I thought if you were from the Bronx, you had to support the Yankees, but I guess not. So during a court hearing later, because Edward Jones, just like our Rocky fan that we talked about earlier, decided he was going to sue because he was beat up because he's a bowler. So this lawsuit, they're in court because that's, of course, where this was headed. The bowlers, first of all, I just want to say this. I warned our executive producer, Mitch, that he was going to take a beating this episode.
I've been waiting for this.
Yeah. So I just want to tell you that, first of all, bowlers are like the barbershop quartet of athletes. So, Mark, what I did, I read that you need to be controversial to make people interact with your content. So I'm putting bowlers and barbershop quartets on blast here to drum up interaction for this.
I see. 2
of our main demographics. And Mitch, our executive producer, falls into both. So watch out. This is a powder keg that I'm lighting here. But the cops, this is some of the testimony that when the cops were called, they eventually, showed up. They had to kick him out. And the Yankees end up on the front page the next day for this, for the wrong kind of slugging, is what somebody said. So the bowler, Edward Jones, claimed that it was Bauer who had clobbered him. And to this, Bauer said, "Hey, I'm innocent." He said, quote, "I didn't hit him. I ain't hit nobody all year," end quote. The language, like the quotes I'm reading today, there's some great grammar. It's baseball, I guess, though. Bauer was hitting 203 at the time, so he wasn't lying. He was not wrong about that. Mantle, who, again, was not in the scrum, but he was there, so he's guilty by association. He described Jones after the brawl looking like, quote, "It looked like Roy Rogers rode through there on Trigger, and Trigger kicked him in the face." Which, that's a pop culture, bonus point for that time. The Lone Ranger, Roy Rogers and Trigger. The actual culprit was actually a bouncer at the club But legally, there was no real issues for the Yankees here. Nobody got arrested or the lawsuit was thrown out. The other guys were bowlers after all. So no celebrity at the Copa was ever going to get in trouble for anything. So the Yankees actually got off pretty scot-free here. But there was still some trouble in store for the Yankees in the Bronx. Now, if the Yankees' assistant to the traveling secretary had been employed at this point, nothing would have happened except for maybe an upgrade to some cotton uniforms. But Yankee president at the time, George Weiss, was not a fan of this. He hated bad publicity. He also hated bowlers, is what I've been told. I don't know. But Ford and Berra were benched for a game for their participation in the brawl, but not Mantle. Casey Stengel was the manager of the Yankees, and he said, quote, "I'm mad at Mantle too, but I'm not mad enough to lose the pennant." So he didn't sit the Mick. Everyone involved got a $1,000 fine except for Johnny Cooks. He was only fined $500, and I'm guessing probably because he probably wasn't even making $1,000 that season because he's probably the odd guy out there. Weiss saw Billy as a bad influence on Mantle and Ford and took advantage of this situation to finally rid himself of Billy Martin. A month after the fight, Martin was traded to Kansas City along with show favorite Ralph Terry and a couple of other guys. The Kansas City A's at this point were the equivalent of the West Sacramento Athletics of Northern California, United States, Northern Hemisphere today. You don't want to end up there. The Yankees got very little in return for Billy and Terry. The best would have been Ryan Duran, who had a blazing, is what it said, fastball, but didn't always know where it was going. We've seen plenty of guys like that. He also wore thick glasses, a la Rick Vaughn from Big League, from Major League. Duran did end up being a 3-time All-Star for the Yankees, though, so he did end up doing, I would say, the Yankees won the trade there just for him. So Billy Martin, though, a Bronx boy, a fan favorite, close friend of Mickey Mantle, traded away his punishment. Right, that ranks right up there behind some of John Fisher's move to really get a team to hate playing for the front office. But Mantle was devastated. He really was devastated. And if you're looking for a moment that kind of changed the arc of Billy Martin's future, this is a good place to look. He bounces around the league after the trade, goes into coaching, and eventually becomes the most combustible manager the Twins, the Tigers, the Rangers, the Yankees, the A's, the Yankees, and finally the Yankees have ever had. George Steinbrenner would fire and rehire Billy more times than most people wash their hair in their entire life. I'm talking about you, bowlers. By the way, bowlers famously don't wash their hair ever. That's how we got the bowler hat. That's how it got its name, because bowlers wouldn't wash their hair, so they would wear those silly little hats to keep the general public from being grossed out at the sight of their hair, so they would call bowler hats. Real story. Look it up.
I think you're making stuff up.
Yeah, look it up.
Mitch washes his hair weave all the time.
They don't wash their real hair, ever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. His is
fixed it.
It's a basket.
Fixed it. All right. So in our Billy Martin episode, I focused on more of the traveling marshmallow salesman and the Ed Whitson fights, but I wanted to get this one in there too. And so we could make sure that the rule of 3 is adhered to.
That's right.
But okay, another tangent, and I'm sorry, but I haven't taken my meds today. Why did the Sith have a rule of 2 when the rule of 3 is a very well-known trope?
The Sith just had to be different.
For a further discussion, tune into our Star Wars crossover podcast, Star Wars Return of the Jeter. All right, that's enough Copa Cabana talk. All right, Mark, we've got something a little bit different for Wax Packs Heroes today. But before we talk about that, we got to play, because we are contractually obligated to me, who paid money to have this song be recorded. It's time for Wax Packs Heroes. Wax Pack Hero! Gonna pull a wax back hero. Gonna stars in his eyes. Hero! On a podcast tonight. All right, Mark. Second reference to our YouTube page this week. If you are following it or any of our social medias, I made a YouTube short this week because I got some new artwork in from the Pop Fly Pop Shop and our friend Daniel. He had a new Ricky Henderson print a while ago. I think I talked about it when he had it on the market. I ordered a couple and it finally came in. So I made an unboxing video and I showed it being hung on my wall with all the others. But what, as I mentioned in the video, he also puts goodies in there. You get some other things, one of which is usually a pack of baseball cards. And we've actually even used those baseball cards for Wax Packs Heroes in the past. But since we're kind of taking a couple of weeks off, since you are the reigning champion, you just claimed another crown, what he's got going on now that he includes is some repacked wax packs, which I think you and I have talked about this on the air. I know you and I have talked about it off. There is a company that is putting old baseball cards from random years, random cards, sealing them in a wax pack, and you can buy them. And, you know, we'd looked into it. It's not cheap because this is all being done by hand, I assume. I don't know. It's probably not by hand, but it's not cheap. And, you know, we don't make money doing this podcast. Shocker to everybody, I know. But included in these Popfly Pop Shop things now are a pack of repacked wax. So I thought we'd open these on the air and we'd play kind of modified version of Wax Packs Heroes since it's an exhibition. This is what we're doing. So I don't know how many cards are in here. I think they're from random years. Who knows who's in here? So Mark, I thought what we could do is we'll just put a little bet on the table here, a bet that means nothing. We'll do a little over-under. We're not going to play against each other, but what would you say is our average score in Wax Packs Heroes?
Jeez. I've only played like 250 sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
10, 12?
I was thinking, well, I mean, we've kind of changed the rules too, because we just go by card, but I was thinking maybe like 15.
Okay.
Let's do 14 and a half.
Okay.
We've got to make
14 and a half is the spot we're looking at.
Yeah. Now, let's do a little over under. Do you want to go over or under that for totaling up these cards in this pack?
I'm going to go under.
Okay. So I'll take the over. Let's just see what we get. I have no idea what to expect in here, nor how many cards are in here. So let's go ahead. Wow. These are sealed much better than wax packs that have been sitting around for 30 years. All right, let's see what we got. I have no idea what to expect in here. All right. We have got, there's even a scratch off repacked wax game card in here. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in here.
Perfect.
All right. Some of them are newer. Some of them are a little bit older. Let's start from the back because that looks like that's where the newer cards are. All right. So our first card here is actually, I think this guy just retired a year or two ago. With the Orioles, it's outfielder Nick Markakis. Definitely remember Nick Markakis.
Of course.
Remember, I think he came up with Baltimore, and I think he finished with Atlanta. Let's see. Yep. Baltimore, Atlanta. Only 2 teams he played for. 15 years in the big leagues. His nickname was Cakes or TTT or 3T. I don't know. I don't know what TTT is. Is that leet speak for something that I am unaware of? I don't know. But let's see. 15 years, 9 for Baltimore, 6 for Atlanta. This card is a 2008. This is, oh, wow. Good year for him. Wow. I'm feeling good about my over just right out of the gate here. 2008, he hit 306, a 406 on base, and a 491 slugging for an 897 OPS and a 136 OPS plus. Let's see, 20 home runs, 87 RBI, 10 stolen bases, and a WAR of 7.4.
Wow.
He led the league.
Defensive player too, so
yeah, led the league with 7.4. Looking at this card, nothing's going to get you anything here. He's got a 5 o'clock shadow, but that doesn't really count. Wow, I don't like this. Is an upper deck. On the front, it's a spring training shot here of him swinging a bat. On the back, there's another card of him that's like 1 frame later than the one on the front. That's lazy work, upper deck. Do you think we're going to get any pop culture here? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I get the feeling we're not either. Does some charity work. That's good. Became the brother-in-law of Ryan Flaherty, who, when the latter married Christina's sister, who is Nick Markakis' wife. So, yeah, he's got charity work. He does quite a bit. but no pop culture there. But it's a 7.4. Good way to start off.
Yeah,
right.
No doubt.
All right, your next card. Our next card, this one's right up our alley. This is a 91 Leaf card, and it is outfielder, center fielder, it says, for the Tigers, Milt Kyler. That just doesn't sound right to me. Cuyler. I remember this guy.
Yeah.
I just don't remember how to pronounce his last name. But regardless, here he is. And we're going to get some points right off the bat because he has got a double ear flap batting helmet on, switch hitter, and he has got some real stirrups. So there's 0.2 of a point right off the bat for us. I guess for me, because I'm rooting for the over. Let's see. We said this is a 1991 card. This is his second year in the big leagues with Detroit. He spent 8 years in the bigs, 6 with Detroit, and then Boston and Texas for a year each. 1991, he hit 257, 335 on base, 337 slugging for an 86 OPS plus. Came in third in the Rookie of the Year balloting. Do you remember who won the American League Rookie of the Year in 1991?
91.
Minnesota Twins.
Knobloch?
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Chucky Knobloch and Juan Guzman. Ivan Rodriguez came in fourth behind Milt Kyler.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. Let's see. Overall, he had 3 home runs, 33 RBI, 41 stolen bases. Nice. Kind of a low on base percentage, though, if you're stealing that many bases. And a 4.1 WAR.
Wow.
Good thing we didn't take your 12 because we're at 11.7 already. Wow. Let's see. Second round draft pick in 86 by the Tigers. I don't know that we're going to get much pop culture here. Georgia Sports Hall of Fame. But yeah, nothing else there. But it's a good looking card. All right. Yeah. So we're at 11.7 through 2 cards. Next card is, well, this is another upper deck, but it's a 89 upper deck. So you know what it looks like. And it's a weird looking card. I'm not going to lie. It is with the Texas Rangers. It's Jeff Kunkel. Jeff Kunkel Milty is what I'm going to call him.
And he just had a milt.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if they were packaged that way.
Kunkel Milty.
Kunkel Milty.
Very nice.
All right. Let's see. Now, first of all, let me describe this card. Nothing on it is going to get us any points, but it looks like he's warming up prior to a game. And I know when I warm up prior to a game, just because I've watched big leaguers do it and I see other guys in my league do it, I stand facing the guy I'm throwing with. And instead of turning my body sideways to throw it when I'm just starting to throw, I'm just facing him. So I've got to kind of stretch back. This card is taken straight on, and it looks like he's doing that. His front arm with his glove is up. It's basically hiding his entire face. All you can see is his left nostril, his left eye, and his left ear. That's it.
Nice photo.
Yeah. They had to have had a better picture. I mean, on the back, there's one of him walking in the outfield during batting practice. That's a much better shot. But yeah, nothing on this card is going to get us anything. Jeff Kunkel, 8 years in the big leagues, 7 with Texas, and then 1992, he played with the Cubs for 20 games before exiting the major leagues. In, what did I say this card was? This is a 89? Yeah, 89 with Texas. Played in 108 games, hit 270, 323 on base, 437 slugging, 8 home runs, 29 RBI, a 111 OPS plus for a 2.0 WAR. So we're up to 13.7 already. I'm feeling good.
Man, no kidding.
Let's see. First round draft pick, 3rd overall by the Rangers in 83. Anything else here? Played 8 positions during his career, and he pitched 3 times. Surprisingly enough, no pop culture references for Jeff Kunkel.
Except for the Kunkel Milty one we just made.
We came up with our own, just sensing that there wouldn't be anything. All right, so we're through 3 cards. We've got 4 left, and we're at 13.7. So we were betting $20 on this, right?
No, it was 20 Canadian, so it's like 48 cents.
That's bowler money right there. Okay, now this card is worth something. I'm just telling you right now. We've got a card that we could sell. This is a 92 Fleer. I mean, it's not his rookie card, but this is still going to be worth money because it is with the Baltimore Orioles. It's Sam Horn.
Ooh. Wow, you had me going for a second.
Just by a show of hands for listeners out there, how many of you have multiple Sam Horn rookie cards? Gathering
that
dust.
Guy does, that guy.
Yeah,
Dude,
I see a bunch
your
of
hand.
them. Yep. Oh, yep. You. Yeah. Oh boy, I think everybody is raising their hand. Yeah, Sam Horn, 8 years in the big leagues, 3 with Baltimore, 3 with Boston, and then Cleveland and Texas for spells apiece. In 1992, his third year with Baltimore, hit 235, 324 on base, 401 slugging for a 102 OPS plus, 5 home runs, 19 RBI. This guy was supposed to be the next Babe Ruth, if you listen to the scouts. But a career of 62 home runs in 389 games. That's not Ruthian at all. Overall, this year, a WAR of 0.0. So that will help you out. He does have a mustache and real stirrups, though. So that'll be 0.2 of a point there. He does have a double wristband, double sweatband, where one is covering half of the other. I guess they didn't make sweatbands of a certain length then, so he's like, I got to double up.
Guess so.
But I don't want to just wear 2 because that's too long. Like, he put some thought into it. Like the logo, remember the triangular logos on them?
Yes.
They're lined up perfectly.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah, I don't know.
You have to line them up to get the appropriate amount of power.
To strike out the appropriate number of times in a game. Speaking of strikeouts, 323 strikeouts in his career in 389 games. That's almost a strikeout per game. Sam Horn, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, he did strike out 6 times in one game.
Yes, well, that's why we call it the Horn. First round draft pick by the Red Sox, 16th overall in the 82 draft. Now, we know that he's done a bit of charity work. He is not afraid to talk about his career. Let's see. He debuted a TV show, What Is Your Pregame, on NBC Sports Boston. Yeah, doesn't really look like there is anything here that's going to get him. I mean, do we want to call a Horn Aplenty? I mean, it's a pop culture, baseball pop culture thing.
It is definitely baseball pop culture, I got to say.
I think we got to give it to him.
It surpasses some of the other wonderful nicknames out there for strikeouts.
Yeah. And Tim Kirkchin came up with it. So,
well, that gives it
some gravitas. Yeah. I'm sorry. There's bowlers that listen to this podcast. It gives it some credibility. And if you're a barbershop quartet, I can't explain it to you. All right. Oh, wow. Oh, speaking of SABR, this guy was on the same panel as Bruce Bochy. Professional podcasting. Right here, team. Here he is with the Mets. He went on to be the GM of the Rangers. He did TV. He might still do TV for the Rangers. And his son was the Rookie of the Year for the A's at one point. Tom Grieve here with the Mets. And this is a 1979 card.
Wow.
I don't think we've ever done a 1979 set.
I don't think so.
Let's see. Overall for Tom, 9 years in the big leagues, 7 with the Washington Senators, 1 with the Mets, 1 with the Cardinals. And 1979, his final year with the with the Cardinals, he only appeared in 9 games. He hit 200, 368 on base, 267 slugging for a 76 OPS plus, no home runs, no RBI, and a minus 0.1 WAR. So that'll help you out. A minus 0.1. On this card, nothing is going to help us out. There are some fun facts. There's some facts. They're not really fun. Received reported $60,000 bonus to sign with the Senators in '66. Hit ninth inning homer, which is it's capitalized homer, like it's a Homer Simpson, to tie game won by Mets at Montreal in 1978. And then there is just a thing called baseball dates. What happened April 22nd, 1890? Any clue?
April 22nd, 1890.
Yeah. That was your first game you ever worked.
Yeah, I don't have a clue at all.
Philadelphia stole 19 bases in one game.
Wow.
That is clearly when going from first to third on a single was a stolen base. But let's see, Tom Grieve, I don't know that we're going to have any pop culture. I mean, he's done TV. He's been a GM. Yeah, nothing there. Texas Rangers Hall of Famer. He's got that going for him, but nothing else that'll help there. All right, we're down to 2 cards left. We've got an airbrushed card. Very interesting airbrushed card. This is a 1969 Topps.
Wow.
I know we've never opened up a I guess I can't say. Some people have sent us some virtual packs of different years, but I don't think we've had a 1969 pack before. But here he is with who's he with here? It's because, I see why they've done this. So he's with the A's, but this is a 69 card. And you know what happened to the A's in 1969? They moved to Oakland. So he had a Kansas City A's hat on. And so what they've done is they've just blacked out his hat entirely. They're like, it's kind of like just how they refer to as the Athletics today. They're just calling him the Athletics. But overall, did I mention his name? His name is Joe Nosek. I don't think I even said his name.
Nosek?
Nosek. Nossek. Almost a Seinfeld character.
Yeah.
His nose, though, is just a normal-looking nose. Nothing outstanding about that. Overall, 6 years in the big leagues, 3 with the Athletics franchise, 3 with the Twins, 2 with the Cardinals. In 69, he split time between Oakland and St. Louis. Overall, he hit .091. His on-base percentage, .091. His slugging percentage, .091. Not good. A minus 48 for his OPS plus. So he was 48% worse than the league average in that year. He had 1 hit the entire year and has a minus .1 WAR. So you're still in it.
He definitely helped me.
Yeah. I mean, well, he is not wearing batting gloves in this picture, though. That is, I'm not going to do it because this is a posed picture. It has to be in a game to have that happen. And on the back says he's an expert archer.
Wow.
Do we believe that?
Expert can be defined in so many different ways. I believe he at least once picked up a bow and arrow.
Like a Nerf bow and arrow. He's like, well, I hit the target one time. They're like, you're an expert archer. Or is this like the upside down pineapple and Helen Hunt, your favorite actress, made up fact? We don't know.
Yes.
All right. So we're down to 1 card, Mark, and we're at a 14.2 WAR. And we said 14.5, which I guess doesn't really make a lot of sense when we're doing WAR and not a whole number, but we're gonna go with it. All right. We have got a 1983 Donruss. Oh boy. One of my least favorite players of all time. Here he is, though, with the Rangers. No thumbtack scraped across his forehead here, though. It's Rick Honeycutt. Oh, I didn't look to see if Joe Nosek has any pop culture, but he does not.
He doesn't, but he was nicknamed Coffee and Juice.
Oh, how did I miss that? Oh, it's not a baseball reference.
Yeah, I saw it. He was apparently a notoriously light eater, so he just ordered coffee and juice a lot.
Oh, okay. Well, he's got a whole SABR bio about him, so maybe future episode fodder. By the way, we're going to have a future episode on Champ Summers, I've decided.
We have to.
Yeah. So Rick Honeycutt.
He's part of pop culture now.
He is. Rick Honeycutt, nicknamed Honey. Hey, Honey. My nickname for him is something different that we're not going to say in the podcast. 21 years, though, because he was a left-handed reliever is part of it. Oakland for 8, Dodgers for 5, Texas for 4, Seattle for 4, St. Louis for 2, and the Yankees for 1. 1989, he was on the Oakland A's World Series team, so he's got a ring, 2-time All-Star, and won the ERA title in 1983, which is what we're looking at.
Uh-oh.
So I think I'm going to win this one. I'm just saying. Let's see, 1983 with the Rangers. He was traded to the Dodgers as well during this season. Overall, he went 16-11 with a 3.03 ERA. He won the title in the American League, though, with a 2.42 ERA. But a 3.03 overall, 213 and 2/3 innings, only yielded 214 hits. That's just about one hit per inning. Only struck out 74. Not a power pitcher. And actually, he was a starter at this point. So, thusly, all the innings. Overall, a 1.30 ERA plus and a 4.0 WAR. Right there. And he led the league, so that's an extra half a point according to our new rules. He's got real stirrups as well, so that'll be a 1/10 of a point. Oh, and he was an all-star. All right, so there's another half a point there. So actually, Rick Honeycutt has helped me out quite a bit for once in my life. Traded to the Dodgers for Dave Stewart.
Oh, wow.
I guess I didn't realize that, but also traded by the Mariners with Mario Mendoza at one point. And I feel like it's not a pop culture reference, but the thumbtack injury is, I don't know how you ever live that down.
This is true, man.
That's just so embarrassing. Cheating and then forgetting that you have it on your thumb and then wipe your thumb across your forehead to get some color, as they say in wrestling.
Yes.
Rick Honeycutt. All right. So overall, first of all, this was awesome. These are we've had Rick Honeycutt before, I feel. We've had Sam Horn before. We've probably had Kunkel and Milt Kyler before. I don't think we've had any of these other guys before, though. So that was fun. And it's fun just to see these different cards and what they look at. But overall, it's a 19.3 WAR. So that $20 I will take, please.
That's right. I'll send it from my Canadian account.
All right. Just Venmo me that. But I want the exchange rate because I am in America. But again, these were repacked wax, which I know you can purchase, and I'm sure it's probably repackedwax.com. Yeah, repackedwax.com. If you want to... Oh, this is a sticker. That's going to go right on my computer with my other ones. I'm sure if you want to get your own, they're fun to open. I don't know if you're going to ever pull like a really good card, like a valuable card, but it's sure fun to do things like what we just did. Was fun and different for us. So repackedwax.com, Daniel at popflyshop.com. I think check our socials. I'll put the links to both of these in the notes, but also you can just look at our YouTube video if you want and see. I've put it there as well. But
there you go. Right.
Yeah, there we go. That was fun. That'll do it for this altered version of Wax Pack Heroes. Also do it for this week's show. If you want more of us, you can find all of our links in the show notes, or you can just do a Google search for us at Two Strike Noise. That is TWOstrikenoise.com. Mark, you have an email address as well.
Sure,
right?
If you wish to correspond with us. How about that for a word?
Well, can you dumb it down for the bowlers?
Oh, if y'all feel like writing on electronic mail, how's that? No, if you want to write to us, send us an email. Two Strike Noise, spell it out, TWO Strike Noise @gmail.com.
That was for the country bowlers. Now, how about for the city bowlers?
Yeah, I'm pretty limited in my city.
Oh, you're a country guy. I got it. All right. Well, if you are a bowler or if you are a member of a barbershop quartet, send us email at that email address because that'll go to Mark before it gets to me so he can screen them. And
don't feel like you need to. Okay.
All right. Also, please, I've been streaming pretty consistently Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitch at 9 o'clock West Coast time. I did something different today, Mark, on the Immaculate Grid. I tried to get the highest score possible. I tried to come up with the top pick for each square, that most people had picked. And I did pretty good. I got a really high score. It's different. I'm not sure I'm going to play it that way very often, but it's a different way to play it for sure. But we do stuff like that. So come and join me. I mean, you should join us again, Mark, sometime. And when
Yeah,
we do
no,
that.
I had a good time. A couple times we've done it.
Yeah, so make sure to do that. Again, you can find all that in the show notes. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next episode. I'm just going to say that. I do have some travel coming up. Of Two Strike Noise. Bye-bye.
Thank you. God bless you. Have a great day.